A young man spends just 4 years of his short life focused on mathematics, fails his university entrance exams twice, does some of his most groundbreaking work in prison, none of it published in his lifetime, and at just 20 years old, he dies in a mysterious duel. The night before his death in 1832, Galois stayed up writing frantically, filling page after page with notes and ideas, his mathematical testament that only made him famous after his death. This is the remarkable story of Évariste Galois. Galois was born on October 25, 1811, in the town of Bourg-la-Reine, south of Paris, where his father Nicolas served as mayor. It was a turbulent time. Napoleon's empire was collapsing, and France was bitterly divided between the royalists, or légitimistes, who wanted to restore the monarchy, and the republicans, républicains, who fought for liberty, secularism, and equality. These ideals shaped Galois deeply. He was homeschooled for the first 12 years of his life by his educated mother, and then entered the Lycée Louis-le-Grand, one of the most prestigious secondary schools in Paris. But the headmaster held him back from advancing to a higher level because he was too young, which demoralized him. He went on to fail the entrance exam for the École, Polytechnique, France's top scientific institution, mainly because he struggled to articulate his ideas during the oral exam. Only one teacher at the lycée recognized his brilliance, Louis-Paul Émile Richard, who encouraged him to pursue his mathematical ideas. He became obsessed with solving one of the great mysteries in math, the Quintic equation, where x is raised to the power of 5. For centuries, mathematicians had searched for a general formula to solve Quintic equations like the one that exists for quadratics. Although the Norwegian mathematician Niels Henrik Abel proved no such formula exists using just basic operations and roots, Galois went further. He asked, which quintics can be solved this way and why? To answer this question, he introduced a brilliant idea. Look at the symmetries of a polynomial's roots, the different ways they can be rearranged without changing the equation. An easy way to understand this is to look at a square which has 8 symmetries. It can be rotated and flipped 8 ways and looks exactly the same. These moves form a group, a set of operations that follow clear rules. Galois realized that the roots of a polynomial equation can be swapped in a similar way, forming a group called a Galois group. By studying the structure of that group, he could determine whether the equation was solvable using just arithmetic and roots. It was an astonishing insight. In 1829, he submitted 2 papers on the topic to France's leading mathematician, Augustin Louis Cauchy, hoping he'd review and present them to the French Academy of Sciences. But Cauchy never did. Later, he claimed he had fallen ill. Whether Cauchy truly grasped the importance of what he held in his hands, we'll never know. The papers were lost forever. This was the beginning of heartbreak for Galois. His father Nicolas, a liberal mayor, had a falling out with a village priest who slandered his name. The priest circulated a pamphlet attacking the church, falsely signed in Nicolas' name. Nicolas couldn't bear the humiliation and, unable to clear his name, took his own life. Évariste was only 17 at the time. Days later, he failed the entrance exams to the École Polytechnique for the 2nd time. He had no choice but to enroll in the École Normale, a respected but less prestigious institution. Galois pressed on, determined to get his work noticed. Although Cauchy never presented his papers to the Academy, he suggested that Galois submit his work to the Academy's secretary, Joseph Fourier, to be considered for the Academy's grand prize. But Fourier died just 2 months later, and the manuscript was never considered for the prize. In July 1830, revolution swept through Paris. Citizens rose up against King Charles X, who had attempted to restore an absolute monarchy and restrict freedom of the press. Galois wanted to join the protesters, but the conservative director of the École Normale locked the students inside. Galois tried to climb the walls and failed. When he publicly criticized the director in a student paper, he was expelled. Galois then joined the artillery unit of the National Guard, a liberal and radical militia made up of citizens. The new king, Louis-Philippe, felt the National Guard threatened his throne and abolished it. When Galois toasted the king's death, he was thrown into prison, though later acquitted, only to be tossed into prison again on Bastille Day, the anniversary of the French Revolution, for wearing the now banned uniform of the National Guard. While in prison, he received bitterly disappointing news. He had submitted his mathematical work to the Academy for the 3rd time, hoping it would finally be recognized. But the mathematician who reviewed it, Siméon Denis Poisson, rejected the paper, saying, "Galois' argument is neither sufficiently clear nor sufficiently developed to allow us to judge its rigor." Poisson suggested he write out his ideas in full, so Galois collected all of his mathematical manuscripts while in prison and refined his work. When he wasn't refining his work, he couldn't shake the feeling that his days were numbered. During one drunken evening in prison, he predicted to his fellow inmates, "I will die in a duel on the occasion of some coquette de bas étage," loosely translated to a low-class flirt. Galois wasn't predicting a heroic death in the name of mathematics or revolution, but what he perceived as a trivial romantic entanglement. But beneath the bitterness was a young man aching for connection. He continued to pour out his soul while drunk. "Do you know what I lack, my friend? It is someone whom I can love and love only in spirit. I've lost my father, and no one has ever replaced him. Do you hear me?" He ended up falling in love with the doctor's daughter after getting transferred to a private health institution when a cholera outbreak swept through Paris. But the woman, Stéphanie, did not feel the same way. After his release in April 1832, Galois agreed to a duel, reportedly over Stéphanie, though the exact reasons remain unclear. His opponent may have been a former member of the National Guard. The duel took place on May 30, 1832. Galois was shot in the abdomen and left to die. He believed he would die in the duel. The night before, he wrote a letter to his friend Auguste Chevalier, outlining his ideas in full, attaching his manuscripts, and requesting that he send them to the leading mathematicians. He famously wrote in his letter, "Je n'ai pas le temps," I have no time. He was not just running out of time to finish his math, he was running out of time to live. After getting shot, he lay in a field for hours before a passing farmer discovered him. He died the following morning in hospital with his brother Alfred by his side. Galois' last words were, "Don't cry, Alfred. I need all my courage to die at 20. His friends sent his final manuscripts to prominent mathematicians like Gauss and Jacobi, but there is no record they ever responded. A decade later, his paper landed in the lap of the mathematician Joseph Liouville, a member of the French Academy of Sciences. Liouville was stunned by what he read. In 1846, he published Galois' manuscripts in an issue of his scientific journal. He wrote in the introduction, "My zeal was soon rewarded, and I experienced great pleasure when, after filling in slight gaps, I recognized the complete correctness of the method by which Galois proves, in particular, this beautiful theorem." Galois' revolutionary idea, associating equations with a group of symmetries, became the foundation of what we now call group theory. Physicists later realized that the universe itself runs on symmetry, from the structure of crystals to the behavior of subatomic particles. Symmetry became the tool for uncovering the hidden structure of the universe. Galois' life was brief. He died at just 20 years old. Which leaves us wondering, what more might he have discovered had he lived? If Galois' work sparked your curiosity about math, there's an amazing way to explore it even further. I've been using Brilliant, a website and app that makes it easy to learn math, science, programming, data analysis, and AI intuitively. It's hands-on and completely different from how most of us were taught in school. Brilliant walks you through each concept step by step, so you're not just memorizing, you're actually understanding how it works. You can dive into programming with Python, one of the most popular programming languages, and start building your skills from day one. One of my favorite courses is How AI Works, where you can explore how AI models learn to manipulate features to form different facial expressions, or understand how ChatGPT generates human-like language. The best part is you can try Brilliant for free for 30 days by signing up at brilliant.org/newsthink or scanning the QR code on your screen. That's brilliant.org/newsthink. The link is in the description. And when you use my link, you'll also get 20% off on an annual premium subscription, unlocking the thousands of lessons. Thanks for watching. For Newsthink, I'm Cindy Pom.